Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Rana Naeem Akhtar from Pakistan. The topic for my research was a phenomenological study of the experiences of the students failed to get admissions in a professional university in Pakistan. Well, when I come to Pakistan, the country which is having underprivileged educational system, I would like to tell the background of this study from where this topic came to my mind. Disruption or potential failure in any walk of life can have profound implications for those involved. It can damage self-esteem, reduce the capacity to be preserved, and can disturb others around the individual who have experienced failure. Failure is an important and personal event in the life of students. In Pakistani context, when we see the lack of universities, Karachi is having the population of more than 20 millions, and we are having 2 to 3 professional universities only over there, as far as engineering is concerned and medical is concerned. So when students try their level best to come up and to get admission in the public sector universities, it becomes very difficult for them to compete the merit standards. At the end of formal aptitude test, when the final merit is discussed, 100 of those students who truly deserve to become engineers are left to seek any other profession. Now, the students who have brought up, or who are brought up actually from 6th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade, and they are having an aim that they want to become engineers or the medical students particularly. This is what the aim in the Pakistani culture is all about. So, when their all studies go in vain, they fail to understand what their future outcome will be. And their educational career, their path, they find no way to get out from that situation. When I was teaching in the University of Karachi, I found many of my students who were actually taught at intermediate level, at the level of 10th grade and first year and second year. When they came to university, I found that the interest, the focus and the aptitude they were having, that was missing. And I was surprised to see that what actually happened to these people. I had 3 basic research questions in my study. Number 1 was, what are the experiences of the students who failed to get admissions in NED, one of the universities? Number 2, it was, how do they focus the society, family, relatives and friends after this rejection? Number 3, how are they thinking of adopting an alternative profession after the rejection from NED? When you people are sitting from different countries, you might not have faced these situations, but the country I belong to, these problems are very much obvious. The lack of facilities for those who want to explore their lives and who have a lot of talent basically. The people who are full of talent. But because of small margins only, because of small things only, you know that a student is getting a very good percentage throughout their career. They were attaining percentages 80%, 82%, but because of only small margin at the end, the dreams actually shattered and then they are unable to find the ways. The methodology, this was a phenomenological research. The 60-minute interviews were recorded using mobile phones, recording the response of the aforementioned research questions. The phenomenological research method was adopted from the open-ended and semi-structured questions which help to explore the experiences of the participants. These were the 3 strategies. In step 1, I discussed the topic with the class who all were having the same experiences. In the second step, there were informal discussions with a few of the students who are having the shared experiences. And the third, there were in-depth interviews. The data analysis process involved a typological data analysis strategy. The participants belong to lower middle and middle class families, and the culture of these families forces the students to carry a lot of academic expectations. This created a spirit of competition among all the participants, and they all were in high spirits applying for anything. The study participants were required to grow through their format. These were the 2 typological actually similarities which were found before conducting the research. The finding were labeled into 4 categories. Number 1 was future aspiration, number 2 phase of preparation, number 3 experience of being rejected, and number 4 transitional phase. As far as future aspiration is concerned, from the 8th and 9th grade, these were the 5 aspirations a student were having while they were approaching towards the higher education. Number 1 was self, the friends, the family, the teachers, the relatives. The phase of preparation was very excited, and it had with hopes and fears to the students. Kiran, one of the students, expressed, throughout the 2 years of intermediate, I had only one thing in my mind, and that was to score 80%. All the way through, that there was number game, the percentage game in the mind of the students, that they need to attain these marks and they will get into the admission of these professional universities. If they can't get, they are not having enough money to go to the private sector universities. Almost all the teachers insisted on the same thing time and again, that if you get less than 80% marks, you will not get into, you will get 80% marks. The student, no critical thinking, no personal maybe mindset for anything, but only the number game which was involved throughout their 12 years of academics. Then the phase of preparation, the second label, how actually they went through the experiences of these. It seemed to the statement that the phase of preparation was challenging, but all the participants were ready and did their best in accepting the challenge. These statements also reveal that the participants were not giving any time to the other activities, and they were trying to prove their family, teachers and themselves that they can succeed in the aims they had. After the phase of experiences, preparation, they went, and the time came when they experienced of being rejected. The efforts and aspiration led students to appear in aptitude tests. 3 phases are there. The first phase was getting good marks, the second was appearing in aptitude test, the third phase is having the merit to come into these universities. They came with the final merit list, appeared those students who got admissions in NAT. Vikas said, my life seemed to me all over. You can just imagine a person, a student who was throughout a very good student, and it was his experience that after 12 years of education, he says, my life seemed to me all over. I had always felt that I could do best in engineering. And being from a lower middle class family, the only hope of becoming an engineer was to get admission in NAD. So it was the only hope, only one university, as I said, for 20 million people in Karachi. I put all my efforts and I scored a very good percentage, and yet I was not given admission at NAD. This was his experience at that time. The statement showed that the rejection, these were the one of the participants, there were 5 to 6 participants who were having the focus group interviews. The statements show that the rejection affected the students badly, and their interest towards education was decreased and nearly died down. Moreover, it endeared a negativity at their thoughts, which was reflected through the statement of Kiran that showed lost her trust in educational system, and he started believing that there was no place of hard work and merit. Rather, there were negative means which justly grant admission to undeserving. Then, after being rejected, now what to do? Thousands of students in Pakistan, they don't find the way. Then they go, what people say. The same is the case with India, I guess, the same neighboring country. They are having the same problems. No way to get admission in NAD or medical university. Now, whatever the people used to tell them, whatever the friends used to tell them, whatever the peers used to tell them, they just went through those fields because they want to get education, despite their own interest, not considering what actually they wanted to achieve through, what contribution they will give to the country and society. And being educationists, we all know that education means that we should have some contribution towards society and becoming a good citizen. But a person without having any aim, anything to involve with, and 95% of the students who are going towards those system of education which they never liked, they never knew. A few students were there who opted for those professions they even not heard before, and they were opting for that. It seems through these statements that the students, it was very difficult. Sorry, I have missed one other slide. Vikas stated, I applied in KU on the advice of my teacher, and I am doing my BS here, but I have some job in future. but I have no interest in the subject and I am doing it to get some job in future. This is what the purpose of education has become, or usually gets when it is not having their professional degrees. Then Simon said, I even had not heard of actuarial sciences before, but one of my teachers advised me to go for this field. I am doing my BS, but I am confused what it will give me after completion. So this is the other factor. They are getting BS in actuarial sciences, not knowing exactly what that will give to them. It seems through these statements that the students, it was very difficult for them to adjust in the new situation in their lives. They were doing their BS to complete their education, to secure a job at the end of the studies. The attitude towards studies, as discussed earlier, was completely different to what it was during the phase of preparation. At the phase of preparation, they were having aims to contribute. After 1 year or maybe 6 months, at the end of that, they were not having any aim of contribution, but they were having only thing to give. The participants seemed demoralized and they had very little hopes in their careers. I just need 2 minutes. The goal of study was to offer a window into the life of the students who have fallen victim to the educational system, which disallows thousands of those who can become better professionals in the field of their own choices, but unfortunately they are dragged to join the professions they never had any interest. It seemed through the interviews that the reputation from the NAD had planted an immense brunt on the participants the whole period from they started thinking of becoming an engineer and they finally being into other professions. Their passions and aims towards education disappeared and their interest towards becoming a strong professional faded. This research indicates that a small number of public sector universities bequeath with a very little opportunities for the lower middle class students to achieve the professional degrees of their own choice, damaging the talent of the country. And finally, by establishing these were the recommendations, it will cater the needs of many students who are left behind by a very small margin, but they have many things to offer. Although this research is in the context of Pakistan, but I feel that wherever in the world where the students are not given with the opportunities, with having something to offer by their own talent, they suffer a lot. And these were the experiences I actually wanted to give the voice of the students to my authorities at my own area, in my own country, that they should actually see into the matter and they should do something for their country. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes.
Actually, whatever you talked about, it's somehow similar to your situation, let's say, decades ago, where students find it very difficult to enter to university because the focus was on entering to university because we think that success means going to university. But right now, actually, we have somehow solved that problem. But the question is whether your educational system or those people who are making policy are aware of this problem, because the sentence you said here, the student said that my life is almost all over, and we heard this sentence lots of time in Iran a few years ago. Are your educational system, I don't know, authorities, are aware of this situation and are they doing anything about it, maybe to, I don't know, solve this problem?
Well, to be very honest and to be very open, our educational system in Pakistan is in the hands of those people who have no concern with education. Educational ministers and the people who are involved in education, they all are politicians. Maybe, you know that in our country there is a huge dispute whether they are having the degrees or not. They are not having the specific education in the field, and they make the policies, they decide what to do with the education. They have not hired many of the educationists to come up to make or actually run or govern the education system. Public sector universities, our public sector has been suffering a lot. Lack of funds. Educational fund is of the budget not more than 2%, not more than 3%, you can imagine that. And this is the highest level of budget. So they don't give value to that. Policies are not being made. Private sector is doing well comparatively, but ultimately again, the purpose is getting more and more business instead of developing these thoughts. And many poor people
or public that helping these students after identity rejection, they demoralize and lots of things happen. Help them to find their way in other way rather than going to university. Maybe they find their way in either business or just working out other things. Is there any kind of help?
Yes, there is, but a small number. For example, the university I work for, Institute of Business Management, they give scholarships to drive students out the interior. Very small number, maybe out of 1 million students, they will cater 50 to 100 students one university or two universities. So what will that do? So these scholarships are these things done by the private sectors. It is not possible. As far as their fee is concerned and their that other expenses are concerned, for a common person it is impossible to even bear a semester fee. It is very difficult. So there is that problem.
Thanks to a lot of extra energy.
Thank you.
And as fast as possible presentation.
Okay.
But you had 3 research questions.
Fine.
You didn't have enough time to just
I couldn't explain. Only I had 10 minutes.
To find the level, but it seems that this is qualitative and quantitative, the mixed ones.
It is a qualitative one.
And quantitative.
No quantitative.
Because your first question begins with what? How did you try to answer the first question?
Maybe you are right, I have done it.
In short, this is the question. How did you try to answer the first research question?
I'm telling you maybe a spelling mistake or something like that. Maybe a grammatical error or something.
And the third one?
Yeah, maybe. You are right, I will discuss
The
that.
research question shows that it is quantitative, but the second one is qualitative.
Okay.
And the feelings and emotion interfere the judgment in qualitative. Then based on the research questions, I couldn't find anything that tries to answer the first and the third research questions because they are quantitative ones.
There was only one thing in my mind when I was making the presentation. You will see the whole paper and you will find out anything. I can give the hard copy. Sure.
Thank you.
So it will be done. But because of that, I was just in the presentation and I was having in my mind the last day's presentation.
Let's change the format of the session.
Sure. Thank you very much for your